Hello everyone, it's DarkFairy07. Today we are playing Cecil Cori-Steel Cutter brew, and I'm very hyped about this one. I just brewed this deck and I got the 5-0 trophy in the first try. The deck felt amazing and it was one of the best Rakdos decks I tried in a long time. Rakdos never felt this good since like the Grief ban. And it's all because of these new cards like Cecil and the Cori-Steel Cutter, of course. I tried this shell multiple times in the past and never felt close to this good. I'm very impressed with both Cori-Steel Cutter and Cecil in this build. Okay, so let's talk about this build. We got some usual Delirium stuff like Mishra, Bauble, Rage Channeler and Nethergoyf. And Tarfire, of course, to support Channeler and Nethergoyf better. We also got Thoughtseize and Knight's Whisper. The sweet thing, the Knight's Whisper might seem weird to you here, but I think some kind of card advantage is necessary when playing a Cori-Steel deck. You have to have a spell that draws another card. This lets you double spell more easily on the future turns. Okay, also Nethergoyf help you do that, and Croxa as well, because they go in the yard and they can be replayed from the yard in the later turns. That is very important to keep triggering Cori-Steel Cutter turn after turn and eventually just getting the win. Okay, so also another thing why I have the Knight's Whisper here is Cecil, the Dark Knight. So by fetching Shock on turn 1 you go down to 17, play the Cecil, then on turn 2 you do the same thing again, fetch Shock, go down to 14, and then you either play Thoughteize or Knight's Whisper before attack and you go down to 12, attack with Cecil and flip it on turn 2. So that is very sweet, and both of these spells played on turn 2 is solid, and if it gets you the flipped Cecil, it's definitely worth it and very strong. Okay, so in the sideboard I got the premium land hate, 2 mana, kill the land, break the ice, plus Blood Moon, one additional discard spell, Dreams of Steel and Oil, which can also exile stuff from the yard like Fleege, which can be very important, Unholy Heat as my additional removal, Colagan Command. These have been amazing, and if Chalice of the Void bothers you, so definitely add one more Colagan Command to the sideboard or another artifact removal you like. One Dumping Sphere for the combo, as well as the Nihil Spell Bombs, and the discard spells play a good, strong role in that matchup as well. So that is it. Before we go to the gameplay, also don't forget the Shinka in this list. Why is it here? Because it gives first strike to legendary creature, and Cecil is legendary and has Death Touch. So Death Touch with first strike in Magic is unbeatable creature combo, and I like it so much for that reason. Also it can work with Ragavan sometimes as well. Arena of Glories are perfect with Croxa, but you can also escape Nethergoyf for 3 mana and give it haste with Arena, which is very sweet as well. Okay, so not to mention channelers with haste and Ragavan and stuff like that. Okay, so that is it. Before we go to the gameplay, I want to remind you of my Decktionary profile, and there is a bunch of news on the Decktionary to mention today, so link is down below in the video description. First, I got a bunch of new guides uploaded on my Decktionary. So there is Cecil and Chocobo cyber guides as the two most popular new versions of Zoo. Both Chocobo and Cecil Zoo, I already saw like at least 3 RCQ wins on the X and on the Discord as people posting, so at least 3 RCQ wins with each of these lists from my channel, and I got guides for them. Also I made a Tifa Zoo Cyber guide. Note that these 3 guides are in the Zoo tier, and all of these 9 guides are in base tier, including the 2 new ones. So this is the base tier, the $10 one, the Zoo tier, the $20 one. This is like the base Zoo tier. So these 2 tiers are used for Zoo content. And this is Eldrazi tier, and I got news there too. I got the new article in the Eldrazi tier. So also there is a bunch of sideboard guides here for different versions of Eldrazi aggro. More than 30 pages of text on thoughts about Eldrazi in the meta. and matchups, most common matchups, and the new article, smaller article about playing, deciding to play either Vrissing Chrysalis or Microspawn in Eldrazi aggro, and I'm planning to do a similar article but longer like this for all these versions of zoo. So how to choose what zoo version of all you have available here to play in your FNMs, in your LGS and stuff like that. Also, not to forget these 3 articles are also available in the zoo tier together with these 3 additional cyber guides in the upper tier. Okay, also another news on Decktionary. I'm now posting posts on my Decktionary, so I will be posting, try to think of something interesting like brew of the week. This will always be my favorite. I will try to do this weekly and always post my favorite thing I did in that week and some important changes to my zoo decks, like the important Cecil interactions with the new cards, stuff like that. Okay, so that is it. Now we can go to the gameplay and see how that went. Okay, here it is. I also have a new format of doing videos, and now I got it in the faster speed, similar to when we had replays in the past. If you remember, replays are currently not available on MTGO, so I'm trying to do something similar to those replays, playing with faster gameplay. Okay, so I go for a Knight's Whisper here, get the Surveil from the Rage Channeler as well. Opponent plays the Spell Snare, but I get to attack for a lot of damage here. I also have Delirium on my Channeler. Opponent has Galvanic Discharge. Okay, this is a hard matchup for an aggro-ish deck like this that plays a bunch of creatures because they have a bunch of removal. They have Flage, they have Galvanic Discharge, which is very effective removal, Flame of Anor, and they also got Wrath of the Skies, the best removal against aggro decks with all creature costing 1 mana. But that didn't stop me from getting the win here. It was interesting games, so let's see how they went. I had to let them resolve Flage here. I don't have a Graveyard Hate in the main deck. Okay, opponent kills my Nethergoyf, attacks me down to 7. And I found a double bolt. This is a way to at least temporarily get rid of Flage, but I go for Ragavan Dash first, and we see the power of Monkey here, getting the prismatic ending to exiling their Flage. This was truly huge deal. Okay, again I go Ragavan Dash. This is important because dashing is important here because of the Wrath of the Skies. Okay, opponent plays Fable. Now they have 2 cards in hand, and I have plenty of options this turn, but I decide to go for Nethergoyf, trigger Cori with Nethergoyf there, get the Cori-Steel token and play the Bauble, grow my Nethergoyf, attack for 3, opponent is down to 12, and I got a bunch of damage in my hand. I am on 5, but I'm hoping to get lethal next turn. Opponent gets rid of my Nethergoyf, attacks me down to 3, and I had open a lethal here. Opponent already played Galvanic Discharge on their turn, so I decided to go for it. Just, yeah, the Lightning Bolt here was lethal if they don't have removal, but they do have removal. They kill my Monk token, so I had to save this remaining Starfire to not die. So I killed the token. On my turn I have Nethergoyf in the yard, so I can go for cast Nethergoyf. I cast Nethergoyf. Unfortunately, opponent has a counterspell, so I play Cecil. I can't fetch here because if I fetch, then I can't deal damage with Cecil. So yeah, I go Cori-Steel Cutter into Nethergoyf, getting the Monk token. You can see here how good is actually Nethergoyf with Cori-Steel Cutter in the mid game, helping you trigger it turn after turn. This was amazing and very important. I attack with my Cecil and now I get to flip it. It's a 4/4 life linker. And opponent has a mass removal. Unfortunately, again, I cracked the bubble and I can cast Nethergoyf from the graveyard again and attack them with hasty monk token, and that was the win. Okay, so I board in the Nihil spell bombs because of the Flage, Dark Dreams of Steel and Oil because of the Flage as well. Unholy Heats, additional removal, and yeah. I like it better than a Bolt in this matchup. So Heat over Bolt, let's say. And yeah, I still want to keep Starfires because it helped me grow my Nethergoyf. Unfortunately, it can't kill Tamiyo, so they will draw a bunch of cards here. But I do what I can. I go for a turn 2 Knight's Whisper, grow my Goyf and start attacking. Draw 2 cards here and yeah. Opponent continues attacking and drawing with Tamiyo. I go for Ragavan. Dash here. Opponent unfortunately has a Flame of Anor. That is such a strong card. But I go Starfire Face, attack them with 5-6. Nethergoyf. Now Nethergoyf is out of Flame of Anor range and out of Galvanic range. Galvanic discharge rate, so it's hard for them to kill it, but opponent ends up having Pet to Exile. That is their sideboard card here, and yeah, I go for a Knight's Whisper, play my Nethergoyf and pass the turn. Opponent flips their Tamiyo, continues drawing cards and has to use the Wrath of the Skies here to get rid of my Nethergoyf other, or they may just die for its attack. It's pretty big. But opponent has a flip Tamiyo, making my creatures smaller. I go for a Ragavan Dash, play the Channeler, and do some surveilling and play Nethergoyf from the graveyard again. I put Thoughtseize from the top in the graveyard and draw another Thoughtseize from the top. And my opponent has another Wrath of the Skies, unfortunately. So on my turn, I go for Thoughtseize number 1. I draw another one. I discard their only removal. It was Flame of Anor. So I take them down to 4 and I need to deal just 1 more damage to be able to bolt them dead. Okay, so and here take the Teferi. I want to take their Teferi in this situation. And I play the Nethergoyf again. Opponent has to do something about it. They fetch down and surveil. They are down to 3. And I have a little bolt in this situation. Nothing my opponent can actually do here. And they surveil and pass the turn. Okay, so let's check out another one. This time I start with turn 1 Channeler. Turn 1 Channeler, I can go turn 2 Cori-Steel Cutter. And since I revealed the Starfire from the top, this was like the only card I could get, which gets me Delirium. So I was not able to put it in the yard on the first surveil, but I did it on the second surveil in the second main phase. So I have Fatal Push in my hand, so I made a plan here to block with Channeler, make them discard 2 cards and then try to push it on my turn. That was my plan. My opponent discards some super strong cards. They had Flicker Wisp and Overlord there, so I go Bolt the Emperor, a Fatal Push, the Psychic Frog get another token, and this was such a strong play. Opponent decides to immediately concede, and that was the game. They went all in on Frog in that situation. It didn't pay off for them. Okay, so I have a lot of sideboard cards here, and yeah. I just trim some one-off. I expect some Graveyard Hate postboard. They have Emperor of the Bones, so against Emperor of the Bones, I always trim like 1 Kroxa, leave maybe 1 in or 0. Usually leave 1 in just in case sometimes you get that Kroxa accidentally from the top, it wins you games. Okay, so I start with the Dreams of Steel and Oil here, and they have some good 2 drops, so I want to take it, and I take their Frog with Dreams. And now I can continue playing turn to Cori-Steel Cutter into Mishra Bauble, make a Monk token and start attacking. So I suspected them having failure here since they didn't play Emperor of the Bones on their turn and I knew their hand very well. But I was okay with that. I just wanted to drop Cori-Steel Cutter on the field. Yeah, okay, so I go for a channeler here. I didn't want to decide at this moment what to kill, so I just played the spell bomb. And hold the fatal push for their turn, attack for 2, they're down on 12. Opponent pitch casts Solitude and casts Witch Enchanter, killing my Cori-Steel Cutter. That is okay for me. I wanted to exile their graveyard here to take their Solitude from their Emperor, but I decided to do it on my turn and draw a card with Nihil Spellbomb. Maybe that was a bad decision. Okay, so now I crack the Spellbomb, draw a card. Opponent decides in response to go for a Solitude, kill my Prowess token and attack me down to 5 and also play High Noon, which is a problem, definitely a problem for me. Opponent goes for Emperor, I fatal push it, and yeah, they pass a turn with High Noon on the field and 0 cards in hand. So now I put Kroxa in the yard and I have a Cecil here as a blocker, lifelinker. Opponent can't get rid of it, so it's time for a match 3. Okay, so a match 3, I'm playing against the Brute Scale and I start with turn 1 Ragavan. And since I draw their Rumble, I decided to change my game plan a bit. First I go for a Thoughtseize, discard a Brute Scale, and their hand was kind of perfect for my hand with 3 Thoughtseize, because on first Thoughtseize I could take the thing they could play on next turn, then on my next turn I can Thoughtseize again for a thing they could play on their next turn, which is like Written Chrysalis here. So it kind of curved perfectly here with the Thoughtseizes, and I also had a removal for their construct. It all went perfect. Okay, so opponent shocks in, makes a construct, I bolt the construct, and yeah, play their Waxing Bubble and pass the turn. So opponent untaps and they see they can't win this one, so they concede Kolagan's Command, such a strong card in this matchup. It can kill their artifact plus creature, it's truly amazing. Break the Ice also kills a bunch of their lands for 2 mana, and yeah, they really need a bunch of lands for their deck to work, and their lands it can kill are just very good, like Eldrazi Temple, Urza Saga, so definitely worth it. I keep a good hand. I think hand with removals is a good hand in this matchup. So I go for a Ragavan. Attack, I do connect, and when I did connect, I decided to, when I find the Ballista, I decided to make a Cori-Steel Cutter token and pass the turn. I don't want to let them play the Brute Scale, equip, and go for the combo. So I'm careful with my mana. Here I play a Channeler, opponent goes Boseiju on the Cori-Steel Cutter, but I play a spell in response to get another token. So I go for 4, they are already down to 12 and I'm pretty close to lethal. Next turn, go for Kroxa in the yard. And yeah, they're down on 9, I have 3 burn spells in my hand. And yeah, so in my upkeep I go for lethal, and that was the match. Opponent concedes, and yeah, we are ready for match number 4. Okay, so this was the only game I lost the entire league. All other games I went 2-0 and this only 2-1. And it was only because of my mistake. Okay, first mistake here was putting Ragavan in the graveyard. I wanted to grow my Goyf, so I don't think it was really a mistake, but I did draw a land instead, which was pretty bad. Okay, so now I'm aware that they can have Flare of Denial, so I hesitated in this moment if I wanted to kill Harbinger or not, but I had a Swamp in my hand, so I thought I'll just replay the Nethergoyf, and I have a Bolt, but they obviously used their Flare of Denial to counter my Bolt here. I thought I'm still fine, I have both of my basics. I don't care that much about Harbinger, but it ended up really mattering a lot. I was not able to double spell because I draw all the black spells, so I only could play one spell at the time. And yeah, they find the Oculus, and with the manifest ability they find another Oculus, so they got the quick win here, and I was not able to get back from that situation. Okay, so it's time for another game. This time I wanted to get my basics as soon as possible, and yes, Cecil, turn 1, I can't flip it on turn 2, but I probably will be able to do it next turn, which is pretty good as well. Pretty good hand by the opponent. Pretty good hand by the opponent, and again, in this game, I again played too risky, maybe unnecessary, we will see it. I didn't want them to block my Ragavan with Calling Oracle next turn and ramp, so I take their Calling Oracle and then go for Thoughtseize again. My opponent plays Ice Fang, and then I look at their hand, and if I take their Ritual in this situation, then they are very close to actually hard casting Oculus after blocking here with Kotal. So I didn't want to let them do that, so I take their Oculus in that situation, let them have the Ritual. And again, I should maybe go for a basic mountain there, but again, I went for Surveil instead, and I thought like I have lethal for sure here, but my opponent again ended up drawing some spells which still leaves them in the game. Okay, I expected them to play like a ritual turn before that and sacrifice their Harbinger, but luckily in this game the risk didn't get punished, and I was able to finish the game here with Colagan command going for the last 2 damage phase. Okay, so everything stays same for game 3. And yeah, this seems perfect. A bunch of 1 mana spells and 2 lands. Let's see, I'll try to start with basic lands and with Ragavans. They will be looking forward to killing my Ragavan here. Okay, so I go for Cecil, I go for Dragon Rage Channeler. They use the Flare of Denial, I'm okay with that. Okay, opponent goes Coiling Oracle plus Birthing Ritual, turn 3, that is very strong start by the opponent, and this was a key moment in the league. I stopped in my upkeep and went Starfire the Oculus in upkeep to dig for a second burn spell, and it paid off. So I went for Starfire and I put land in the graveyard and top deck find heat from the top. That was amazing. Play Cecil and continue attacking. Opponent finds a Coiling Oracle and finds Oculus again. Knight's Whisper from the top finds me another Unholy Heat. I needed like any red spell here to be able to continue attacking, but the Heat was the best one definitely. Okay, I play another Ragavan, and here is opponent finding another Oculus from the top. This time I don't have a Heat, but I have another removal to finish off Oculus after attacking. And I deal 2 damage to Oculus, make them discard a card. And now they're on 0 cards in hand. I have a flipped Cecil, and I didn't really need anything at this point, but Kroxa allowed me to finish game on the same turn without allowing them to maybe find a top deck and get out of that situation as well. Okay, so this was time for game 5, the trophy match. Okay, so I start with a Channeler, put Bolt in the yard, crack the bubble, pass the turn, and here are we in the trophy match playing against Ortho Blink again. I feel like we played against good decks in all matches except match 4, which actually ended up being maybe the hardest one because I did a mistake in that one. And I don't think that deck is bad. I think it's actually quite good. I prefer a version from my channel playing Bunt. I brewed the Bunt Birthing Ritual Oculus deck long ago. Then sometime after it, there came like the Simic versions, and I still like the Bunt more. But I think that deck is actually quite solid. Okay, I thought like I'm got my opponent very good there, but then there top deck Flicker Wisp blink their Overlord, and they are in a pretty solid situation as well. We can see I draw a fetch from the turn, and that was actually good here for me because I had double bolt to get rid of the Overlord, and yeah, I double bolt their Overlord. So we are now in a top deck mode. Opponent has one card in hand and me too. So I go for a Knight's Whisper and I can play the Nethergoyf from the yard, but I decide to go Thoughtseize first, take their Fatal Push, then play the Cecil, pass the turn. Okay, so attack with Cecil, it's close to flipping, not quite there yet, but I get to play both Nethergoyf and the Dragon Rage Channeler, and that is lethal for the next turn, so I got the game, opponent concedes, and this is the trophy game. So I just need another win, and all the matches I won 2-0 except that match 4 when it was 2-1. So it's really truly amazing performance for this deck, and this is like, I remember that I just brew this deck like 5 minutes before starting this league, and this was my first league with it, and I almost went just completely undefeated with it in the first try, and that's so sweet when stuff like that happens. Okay, so opponent already got rid of 2 Ragavans, but here is a third one who says that multiple copies of legendary creatures are bad. They sometimes it just works out amazingly, like here. Okay, so I check my top with Bauble, then crack the fetch, grow my Nethergoyf to 4-5, they are already down to 12, I play another Nethergoyf and hold Unholy Heat for their turn. Opponent has a Solitude, tries to blink it with Felia, but I'm keeping that removal here, so now I also attacking them down again, put this time they go down to 5 life. I play Cecil as well, play the Nihil Spellbomb, pass a turn. Opponent just 2 cards in their hand, they play Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp here allows them to survive a turn, but nothing really better than that. So I still connect with Ragavan and Cecil, put them down on 4, get their Flicker Wisp with... get their Flicker Wisp, blink my Rakdos Theater, get the Surveil myself as well, and that's it. Okay, so that is entire trophy league with this Rakdos Cecil Steel Cutter brew. It's amazing to get a trophy in a first try with when you just brew something and go, and I really liked it. I give it a lot of thought before starting a league, and I think at the moment I don't want to change anything. What you could change is maybe add another artifact removal piece in the sideboard if you're afraid of Chalice of the Void, or know that in your meta people do play a Chalice of the Void. But I'm so impressed with this deck, and I played a bunch of Rakdos in the past with Channelers, and the Nethergoyfs always try to brew like the Delirium, a good Delirium Rakdos version, and this is the best deck has felt in the long time, and I'm so happy that Knight's Whisper works so well, synergizes with Cecil, synergizes with Cori-Steel Cutter. I think it's a key piece in a build like this to be able to win in the longer game. I like it a lot. Shinka is such a cool piece with Cecil giving it first strike death touch, which is unbeatable for any other creature. And okay, so that is it. I think, as I said, no changes at the moment except maybe adding a damping sphere if you expect a lot of storm, or adding another artifact removal piece if you're expecting Chalice of the Void. But other than that, deck feels perfect. I'm so happy and excited for this build. Definitely will play more of it, and I maybe make another video with it next week. That is all for today. Thank you for watching for the end. Friendly reminder, click like, click subscribe, comment down in the video. I want to hear your thoughts about this new gameplay video format where I go in the faster speed, similar to the replays we had in the past. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the replays at the moment, but this is like the similar type format as what I used before, and I think a lot of people prefer it. Okay, so let me know down in the comments, is this the best way to go with videos in the future? For all of you watching. Also, there is no more like the stops between matches, if you notice that. And that's it. Okay, again, thank you for watching and goodbye.